Good evening to tonight's council meeting on June 21st. I'll call the meeting to order. First order, two orders of business is our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance, so if you would remain standing after the invocation. Tonight we have Pastor Pat Sealer of the Calvary Chapel. Pastor?
Let's pray. Dear God, before this meeting begins, we want to bow our hearts before you and humbly acknowledge that you are the all-knowing, all-wise, and the only true God. We say thank you for the city of Casa Grande. Thank you for bringing us through the pandemic. Thank you for Mayor McFarland and each member of the council. Thank you for the economic growth and the population growth that we are experiencing. We lift up this meeting tonight, and we ask that you would give wisdom to each of those that are here and will be involved in this meeting. We pray that Casa Grande would continue to flourish. We pray that the city would always be a place where there would be healthy families, strong marriages, great local businesses, and wonderful communities of faith. We lift this meeting up to you, and we pray all of this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Let the roll call show that all council members are present.
Mayor McFarland, regarding the minutes for this meeting, I move we move approval for the city council regular meeting minutes from June 7th, and accept for the record the fire personnel retirement board minutes from February 1st and the police personnel retirement board minutes from February 26th as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Next item is claims against the city, item D.
Mayor McFarland, I move to accept and pay the claims dated June 2nd, June 15th, 2021 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, claims are approved. Meeting agenda approval. I do have one item that I'm going to move up. I'm going to move item K2 to follow our consent agenda items. Just make a note of K2 will come after the consent agenda. Larry, any other changes by staff or anybody at the dais? Okay, seeing no other changes, then I'll entertain a motion for the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, meeting agenda is approved. We do have a special presentation tonight. So I would like to ask Officer John Tenna to come forward. John, are you here? I'm assuming you're here because there's a lot of family members here.
Sergeant.
Or Sergeant, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Officer.
I said officer, but is an officer or something? I'll meet you down here. Good. Why don't you stand over here and I'll stand over here. How's that? All right. So tonight, we want to recognize Casa Grande Police Sergeant John Tenna, who's retiring after 31 and a half years of service. 31 and a half years.
Yeah.
John began his career in the department on November 27th, 1989. He was promoted to the rank of sergeant in September of 2001. And as you might guess, John has filled many roles in the department over the course of his career, including being the departmental quartermaster, overseeing the field officer training program, serving as sergeant of our police explorer post, and being a member of the department's peer support team. Last year, John received the special honor, receiving the police department's Supervisor of the Year award. That's amazing. John's an example of a law enforcement professional committed to public service, and we're proud that he has invested his time in Casa Grande. And on behalf of the City Council and obviously all the citizens of Casa Grande, thank you for your service and good luck in your retirement. Anybody else want to say anything about him? This isn't a roast.
Mayor, I want to say I worked with John many, many years and on lots of different projects, lots of different incidents. He has served our community very, very well. He's put himself in direct danger many times, and we all owe him a debt of gratitude. The only thing I want to say is after that is that's one good man right there.
Yeah.
Good job, John.
Again, thank you for your service.
I'd have just one quick comment, is that we are really pro-police, and we appreciate the ones that serve us, and the chief and his staff, and we are sorry to see you leave in one way, John, but happy for you in another. And thank you for all you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I wanted to say something. You know, the chief has just proposed a new reserve program, so he's looking for people.
He'll be the first
so-
sergeant on the reserve
The first
program.
one is the police reserve. No, and you must have been, what, like 10 when you started? Because it just seems like he's so young to serve for 31 years, but congratulations.
All right. Anybody else?
You know, I just want to say, I haven't had the opportunity to work with him directly, but I have worked with his daughter Julia, and I know that she is top-notch. And so your parenting skills are above the rest, and I wish you well on your retirement.
Okay. All right, the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion and one roll call vote of council. There'll be no separate discussion of the items unless a council member or member of the public so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in the normal sequence of the agenda. Does anybody have anything you want to remove from the consent agenda? Anyone from the audience? Okay, seeing none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So move.
Second? Sorry, Donna.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, this is where we're going to move K2 right here, so if you can all page to K2 item. This is to consider a memorandum of cooperation between the City of Casa Grande and Arizona Water Company. Mr. Raines?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you. For the public that may be watching, if you were unable to watch the study session, the mayor and council just went through roughly an hour-long presentation on a concept to essentially partner to provide, potentially provide water to the Copper Mountain Ranch development. And so staff is asking the mayor and council to consider adopting a memorandum of cooperation between the City of Casa Grande and the Arizona Water Company to establish the parameters and framework of a partnership to utilize the City of Casa Grande's designation of assured water supply to provide a potential pathway for development to transpire in portions of Copper Mountain Ranch. And as was indicated earlier, this is really just the beginning of what will likely be a bit of a journey, something that may take multiple steps. There will likely be additional agreements that will come before mayor and council, but ultimately the memorandum of cooperation, at least in my opinion, shows a cooperative effort between the city and the water provider that provides the water for the majority of the City of Casa Grande, as we go to our development community. But as Councilwoman Fitzgibbons pointed out, we do have to manage our expectations. This is something that's just step one, and likely something that will be more long-term. And so with that, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I would pause and entertain any questions that you may have.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, seeing none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the memorandum of cooperation between the city and the Arizona Water Company as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the memorandum is approved. Thank you, everyone. So we'll go back to our regular schedule here. So we'll go to item H, which is call to the public. This is the second meeting we've had call the public back, so welcome. It's good to see people here in the audience, and appreciate everybody's attendance. Is there anybody here who would like to speak to council? Okay, seeing no one rush up to the podium. Oh, wait.
Larry's not gonna run.
Yes.
Yes, sir. You almost missed your opportunity there. Please approach the podium and state your name and your address for us, and please remember you have 3 minutes. And also remember that since it's not agendized, we can't discuss it. We'll take your comments, and if there's a need for follow-up, then we will instruct staff to follow up.
All right.
Okay?
Okay. W. James Hartfield, 875 East Jimmy Kerr Boulevard, Casa Grande, Arizona. DBA Hartfield's Tire Company. All right. Mayor McFarland, Pro Temp Huddleston, and members of the City of Casa Grande Council. This is just a little bit more information. I would put it like food for more thought. We've been working on this for a couple of months plus, and we've presented quite a bit of information to the City Council prior because of the COVID-19. We couldn't approach you all. We are working with City Manager now, and we are still waiting for a potential resolution to these severe restrictions, crucial restrictions placed on Hartfield's tires after February 1st fire. Before I just get 5 points, the reason I'm here is because we're operating at 20 to 25% inventory at the company now. For 53 plus years, we've operated between 75 and 100% in inventory. We only allow, because of these restrictions, to have between 75, 100 tires max in inventory. And we've normally had, for 53 plus years, 400 to 500, 600 tires in inventory. Unfortunately, they're adding sizes every year, multiple sizes in all different areas. And so we're losing a lot of business. It's so depressing, I don't even want to go to work. Because I'm in the business to make a profit, not to refer to my competitors. And I'm referring a lot of business. Sarah got it. Okay. All right. Hartfield's Tires has received at least 5 financial debt sentences by our department, fire department, under the leadership of Marshal Michael. February the 2nd, day after the fire, there was a stop work, stop use placed on the front of the business, on the front door. On April 12th, Code 2505.4 maximum enforcement outdoor storage piles were stated to be a minimum of 50 feet from all lines and buildings. All outdoor tire storage will be for compliance with Chapter 25 and 2000 International Code. Third financial death sentence we received on April 12th, interior tire storage area is limited to 500 square feet. And A&D, 5 feet NIN height in accordance with Chapter 23 of the 2000 Fire International Code. The fourth financial death sentence we received was interior tire storage area is limited to 5 feet in height in accordance with Chapter 23 and International Fire Code. And the fifth financial, keyword is financial death sentences, all right? On April 12th, areas of structure open to the elements, no roof will be considered outside for the purpose of storage. I have a question. Where on God's green earth is the international code for the no roof restriction? And then if these 5 demands were not enough, on April 12th, we received an additional one. And it states that due to the limited information provided, and we've provided a lot of information, additional restrictions or conditions may be placed on the occupancy of Hartfield's tires. Now, point I'm making here is we have been in business 53 plus years, 53 plus. And so whether the fire department wants to accept it or not, we have some grandfathered rights. Our property line, our fence is merely 25 feet from the building, east and south. And then we did some research, called railroad company, because we own the building, but you can't buy the land. So they have restrictions, or they know what our property line is. We have not been utilizing 46.5 feet. So we have 71.5 feet going east and west. We have 0 going north and south because we're right up against the railroad tracks. So with this demand of 50 feet minimum, it is not economically feasible for us to even try to store tires. So I want to make emphasis on that. Now, I'm not trying to pick on other tire businesses, but been in business too long, and I'm watching tire businesses for the last 53 plus years. We're the only tire business that are in compliance. At the time I came before you, it was 13, now it's 15. And more threatening to come in. Everybody and their grandma and grandpa didn't want to be in the tire business. Well, it's all good. But I'm looking across the city, and 10 feet is the minimum height in tire storage. It goes from 10 feet to 30 plus feet. I'm talking new tire businesses and used tire businesses on Pinnell, Florence Boulevard, Jimmy Kerr Boulevard. So, unfortunately, it appears that we've been singling out. I know they may say these other tire businesses didn't have no fire. Well, that's all irrelevant. We didn't try to start no fire. But we thank God that, first of all, God saved our business and the fire department. But now we got more crucial issues at hand. And we need some help to get this resolved. I try to do everything legal, all right? Part of my mind tells me, Hartfield, just put your tires back over there like they was and move forward and wait for the results. But I'm trying to come to you all so we can work this thing out. You know, they didn't place me as a pastor after the death of my father, so I try to do the right thing as much as possible, by any legal means necessary. Malcolm X had a statement, by any means necessary. I put a clause in that. We try to keep it legal. And then we are farmers too. The farmers got to stand, we're going to be fighting till the cows leave home and come back multiple times. I've been fighting all my pre-adult life for people's rights for 35 years as a political activist. So I basically trying to come to you all and reasonable, and I have Sarah come behind me with some potential resolutions, but I wanted you all to know the crucialness of this issue that we're dealing with. Thank you for your time. That's my time, and unfortunately, perhaps I'll see you all another time.
I think you took everybody else's time too. No, I'm just kidding. I'll
All right.
you're good. And then if Sarah wants to come up next, that'd be fine. Sarah Garland? Please try and stay to 3 minutes.
I won't go beyond 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston and members of the Casa Grande Council. So these are the resolutions that we proposed. I looked up the Institute Scrap Recycling Industries Fire Safety Practices, and you know, recycling storages are way more, they have way more tires than that of a normal business for tires. So, and they recommend that if a distance cannot be met, suitable alternatives should be implemented to ensure all appropriate safety measures are met. So if they're willing to work with a facility that stores multiple tires, why can't we do the same for a private business? Storage recommendations, scrap tires range between 2,005 to 5,000 square feet in size. All materials should be spaced 20 to 50 feet away from the building. Additional piles, equipments, property lines, etc. The internal temperature of all materials should not exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit and at a depth of 6 feet. So what they're saying is that if you can't meet those recommendations, work with the person that has this building, this business. Buildings without roofs should be considered backstock area of mercantile occupancy that is physically separated from sales area and not intended to be accessible to the public, which he has done. He has made it so that that area that is not roofed, he has it to where the public cannot enter that section of the building, which decreases the likelihood that someone would start a fire by dropping cigarettes or whatever the case may be. So he has that clearly indicated as keep out, and that will help his inventory be more safe to, away from the public. But what we're saying is this: if the city and the fire marshal would work with him, we can prevent, the squabble that's going on, and we can also prevent future restrictions on this business. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gloria, I'll give you her speaker cards, because she didn't give her name, full name
There's
and
one more,
address,
Mayor.
but I have it. Yeah, I've got George, is it Masson?
Awesome.
Masson? Masson?
My name's George David Masson. I live at 928 North Cadota Avenue. Anyway, I'm here as a friend and as a customer. And again, I've known his family since 1968. And they're a good family, and they mean to be right. When I found out about the fire, I worked with Mr. Hartfield there for 2.5 weeks without a day off. And I even had our little Mormon missionaries over there helping us clean up. But he took 3,100 tires. I delivered 3,100 tires to the Florence facility. They're the only one that would take the tires. And then he had electrical problems that was required to be taken care of, and they were taken care of. And all I know is he's a gentleman who works very hard, and he's trying to meet codes in every way. And I know a lot of the tire companies who are in town, they really are not meeting code as well. But I really feel that as a business owner, he could use a little help, and I think he's respectful in every way when it comes to working with the city. So if you would please try to help him out, because we're dealing with a good person, and a person who means well. And I thank you guys for allowing me to say what I feel that might make a difference in this town, which I love. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Raines, I think, I know the department's been working with them. I don't know if between you and Paul, if there's some discussion that can be had. I know that the codes are the codes, so there's some requirements that we have our hands tied, but can we maybe work with this family to see if there is a solution, what that solution might be? Yes. Okay. I don't know if it's working with the railroad, if that's part of the potential solution. I would have to think that it might be. So maybe that might be something that we can take a look at. Okay. Is there anyone else? And call to the public? Okay. Then I will close the public comments, and we'll move on to item I1, consider ordinance number 3277. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We come before you tonight with a recommendation for approval for a contract with Core Construction for the construction of a new vehicle evidence processing facility. Our staff recommends that Mayor and Council authorize the city manager to enter into a construction contract with Core Construction for the construction of a new vehicle evidence processing bay addition to the public safety facility at a guaranteed maximum price of $375,884. This project involves the construction of a new two-bay vehicle evidence collection addition, and the scope of this project also calls for the removal of existing fence enclosure and construction of a new building addition in the same location to match our existing current building. This is a carryover CIP project from last year that we weren't able to do due to mainly due to the COVID situation. The fiscal impact of this is the $375,884 to Core Construction, $22,500 to the architects, $7,500 to Gravity Research, for a total cost of $405,634. Be able to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
Just a comment, Mayor.
Go ahead, Bob.
I'm anxious to see it, and I was going to throw in that with Ted Hawkins as your project manager and Core Construction doing the project, you can't go wrong. So I'm anxious to see it.
We are too.
Yeah.
Much needed.
Good.
No other questions? Then I'll call for an ordinance number, please, Gloria.
Ordinance number 3277, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Core Construction to provide construction manager at-risk services for the public safety facility vehicle evidence bay project, authorizing expenditure of public funds, authorizing the execution of a contract.
Mayor McFarland, I would move for approval of ordinance number 3277 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. And before we move to the next item, Larry, I forgot to mention with regard to the tire company, the comment was made that other tire companies are non-compliant in the city of Casa Grande. Can we validate that? Because if that's not right, if they're held to a different standard than other tire companies. Okay, sorry. Back to item I2.
Casa Grande Police Department requests authorization to enter into contracts and issue purchase orders to implement a body-worn video cameras and evidence.com program with Axon for a total price of $639,999.65 over a 5-year period. Staff requests that the mayor and city council adopt an ordinance for the purchase of 95 Axon body-worn cameras, 97 licenses for evidence.com, and associated equipment through Axon in the amount of $639,999.65 in yearly installments as outlined in the packet you have, of $126,385.53 the first year, and $128,403.53 the remaining years. We came in front of council already to discuss the body-worn cameras, so I won't belabor that fact anymore, but we'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
When do you think you'll have them, Chief, if we approve tonight?
You can talk.
I didn't know if you wanted me to speak or not tonight,
It's like being on the pitcher's mound.
so. Anyways, it looks like once it's approved and authorized, we should be able to get the program implemented between 2 and 3 months, hopefully.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Lisa?
Well, just a comment. Of course, this is something that we've been talking about for years. And so I'm just really looking forward to moving forward. And obviously, this is something that all over the country is a priority for many cities all over the country. And I really do appreciate everything you guys have done to move forward on this. We're fortunate. I know we, over the years, have been waiting to make sure that we can fund this. We know that it's a nice chunk of change here, but it is something that's good for our community and our officers. I mean, just the safety of our officers, it provides transparency to the community. We know we have a great police department, but all it takes is one incident, that can, cause some headlines. And so I just really appreciate everything you guys have done to move forward on this. I think the community is ready for it. And I really hope the officers are too. But based on the information you've given us, it looks like there's a lot of support and people are looking forward to it. So I just personally, because I know I've been a thorn in your spine, Chief, for a little bit on this, but you've handled it so well and made sure that you've given us the many details that we need to feel comfortable with this decision. So thank you. Looking forward to it.
Anybody else?
Mayor, could I say one thing before you go to vote? The 3 topics that we talked about tonight earlier, and then these 2 topics, I will tell council, we would not be anywhere near at this stage for any of those, if not for Lieutenant Shervin and the hard work that he's put into this and took these projects by the horn, so to speak, and has pushed them down the road. So our department owes him a lot of gratitude, and I think when these projects do be turned out, when they're turned out and we're using them, I think the community really would owe him a big sense of gratitude for all the hard work that he's put into this, in addition to the other stuff he does.
Great. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right. I'll call for an ordinance number, please, on I-2.
Ordinance number 3278, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a proposal from Axon Enterprise, Inc. to provide body-worn cameras for the department and access to evidence.com, authorizing expenditure of public funds and authorizing the execution of a contract.
Mayor McFarland, I happily approve ordinance number 3278 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote, please, Gloria?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. Right, next item is I-3. Consider ordinance number 3280. It's an airport lease. Kevin?
Thank you, Mayor. With your permission, I'd like to describe the next 3 items as one presentation. They're all airport leases. These are land leases for the construction of private hangars. These are very similar to the ones that we've presented to council in the past. So each of them have separate square footage specifications based on what the applicant is looking to build. The first one is for Jacob Mueller, and it's for lot number 4A as part of our private hangar layout plan. And this would be to build a 4,960 square foot aircraft hangar. And this is a 30-year lease with a 10-year option, and they only lease the land. They provide the cost and construction of the facilities, and at the end of that lease period, the assets revert to the city if they so choose at that time. And so the first lease is for an amount of $2,380.80, and the fee will increase 5 cents per square foot every 5 year on that anniversary.
Kevin, is that annual or is that an annual lease?
That's an annual fee.
Okay.
So, so all three of these leases are going. I'll go ahead and let you move forward on that one. Do you have any questions on this one?
I just was curious whether it was an annual or what the time period was.
Yeah.
You've answered my question. Thank
Okay.
you. Does anybody else have any questions on this particular one? Go ahead, Matt.
Comment, Mr. Lewis, you're not asking for money tonight, so it's appreciated.
So I'm actually making some money tonight. Not a whole lot, but it will pay off in the long run.
Okay, then the next one.
And the next one is for John Dean, and that's for lot number 5. And that is also a 4,960 square foot aircraft hangar. The lease is identical, 30 years with a 10-year option. And the revenues associated with that is an annual fee of $2,380.80. And again, that will increase 5 cents every 5 year on that 5-year anniversary. And then the third lease is those two gentlemen, John Dean and Jacob Mueller, partnering to build a third hangar. And this is for lot 3, and that's for a 2,310 square foot hangar. Again, 40-year lease, 30 years with the 10-year option, and the revenues associated is $1,108.80 per year for that, and then that will again increase 5 cents per square foot on the 5-year anniversary. So those are the 3 lease agreements, and we're running out of land to build those private hangars at the airport. So we're now looking at our developing our next phase of where those private hangars could be built. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from anyone? Okay, seeing none, then we'll entertain the first one, which is item I3, and the ordinance number, please, Gloria.
Ordinance number 3280, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the lease of lot number 4A located at the Casa Grande Municipal Airport to Jacob Mueller as identified on the Casa Grande Municipal Airport private hangar lease area plan, and authorizing the execution of a lease agreement by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I would move for approval of ordinance number 3280 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. Next item is I4. I'll consider ordinance number 3281, please.
Ordinance number 3281, an ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the lease of lot number 5 located at the Casa Grande Municipal Airport to John Dean as identified on the Casa Grande Municipal Airport private hangar lease area plan, and authorizing the execution of the lease agreement by the city manager.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of ordinance number 3281 as presented.
Second?
All right, a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, next item is I5. I'll consider an ordinance number, please.
Ordinance number 3282, An ordinance of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving the lease of lot number 3 located at the Casa Grande Municipal Airport to John Dean and Jacob Mueller as identified on the Casa Grande Municipal Airport private hangar lease area plan, and authorizing the execution of the lease agreement by the city manager.
Mr.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance number 3282 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move to item K, our ordinances and resolutions and other matters to come before the council. K1, consider resolution number 5308.
I always follow Kevin every time I come.
You need to talk to your boss.
I know. So tonight, where staff is recommending mayor and council approve the resolution authorizing grant applications on behalf of Casa Grande Alliance for $22,000 for the Pinal County Reentry Project, Pinal County Hispanic Council for $5,000 for their Cesar Chavez Scholarship Program, the Opportunity Tree for $15,000 for the Healthy Habits Program, and the Museum of Casa Grande for $5,000 for the Weaver Cemetery and Xeriscape Garden. Seeds of Hope for $77,331 for the Mondo Anaya Community Center for their solar panel installation. We have 3 city projects: the Casa Grande Arts and Humanities, $70,000 for the post-COVID return to family outdoor activity by experiencing art through play, the Casa Grande Community Development Division for $40,000 for emergency housing repair and accessibility assistance, and the Casa Grande Police Department for $30,000 for their team policing. I just wanted to note, in 2020, even with COVID, Auction awarded the city of Casa Grande $85,034.24. $15,000 went to the Opportunity Tree, $40,000 was for our emergency housing rehabilitation program, and $30,034.24 went to the forensic phone investigation equipment and training for the PD. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Okay, did a good job of explaining it. No questions. All right, I'll consider resolution number, please, Gloria.
Resolution number 5308, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the submission of Proposition 202 grant applications to the Auction Indian community on behalf of various agencies for the purpose of benefiting the general public for fiscal year 21-22, authorizing the city manager to accept and execute grant agreements with the Auction Indian community for any grants awarded to the agencies, authorizing the city finance director to accept and disperse funds as necessary, and authorizing the transfer of budget authority.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve resolution number 5308 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Before I vote yes, I just want to thank so much our Indian reservations that contribute that type of money to our community continuously. And so a big thank you to Auction. And I vote yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. And thanks to Mary for managing all this, so thank you. All right, we've already approved K2, so we'll move to K3. Consider resolution number 5309.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is seeking Mayor and Council's approval for the city manager to apply for and accept American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds from the United States Department of Treasury. The plan allocates $11.4 million to the city of Casa Grande. in compliance with Treasury and Federal and Treasury Department guidelines, ARPA funds may only be used for, 1, to respond to the COVID-19 health emergency or its negative economic impacts, 2, to provide premium pay to workers of the city that are performing essential work, or to provide grant for eligible employers that have workers who perform essential work, or 3, cover government services to the extent of the loss of revenue due to the COVID-19 public health emergency, and 4, make the necessary investment in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. Payments to the city under ARPA will be made in 2 tranches. The first half, 60 days after the enactment, which is really now, any time from now, and the second half, 1 year later. Since the Act does not require the city to provide the Department of Treasury with a list of projects to be funded before monies can be drawn down, staff recommends that Mayor and Council authorize the city manager to apply for and accept ARPA funds. I'll pause here for any questions.
And Larry, the plan is then to come back to City Council with some ideas, correct? That are authorized under this act.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that is correct. We ultimately will come back with a plan that Mayor and Council will approve and essentially be distributed within the fiscal year 22 budget.
Right. So the purpose of this is just to give Larry authorization to apply for the money. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, seeing none, then I will consider resolution, please.
Resolution number 5309, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to apply for and accept American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 funds from the United States Department of Treasury, authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documentation, authorizing the city finance director to accept and disperse funds as necessary, and authorizing the transfer of budget authority.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve resolution number 5309 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, we'll move into the public meetings, public hearings portion of the meeting tonight. First item, and actually last item, is L1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This item pertains to a proposal to amend the plan area development for the Los Prados PAD. See if I can get this to progress here. That one, Steve? Oh, thank you. Oh, I got it upside down. Thank you. Okay, so on the screen, the drawing on the left shows you the existing Los Prados PAD, and the graphic on the right shows you the proposed amendment. So as you can see, the proposed amendment proposes to expand the multifamily area a little bit to the north, making that commercial area smaller, and to eliminate the office land use. Even though it says for multifamily in the proposal, as you're going to see in a second, it's actually for a build-to-rent project, a bungalows project, very similar to the one that you approved at Treckle and Cottonwood. The actual density is going down. The current multifamily is approved at 15.76 dwelling units per acre. This PAD programs the site for 11.6 dwelling units per acre. There's actually a lot of activity within this area of Los Prados, PAD. There's a Whataburger proposed along the Florence Boulevard frontage and an Aldi's right beside it, which will fill in that commercial area between Walgreens and the Denny's. This is a little bit different look at the existing and the proposed PAD. You can see the existing one on the left and the proposed one on the right. And so, although tonight you're not ruling on the major site plan for the bungalows, that actually is scheduled to be considered by Planning Commission at their July 1st meeting, subject to City Council's approval of the zoning this evening. You can see that there's some cross-access designed for the 3 developments, including a new shared entrance onto Florence Boulevard. The build-for-rent development proposed for this site is very similar to the one proposed at Cottonwood and Truckle. In fact, it's the same land developer. They would build, if this is approved, they would build 191 single-family rental units. They would be both single and 2-story homes ranging from 700 to 1,200 square feet. When staff and Planning Commission and Council consider any PAD amendments, we look to the zoning code and the review criteria for approving those amendments, and all of those review criteria have been analyzed in the staff report that was included in your request for council action. I just want to talk about the 3 highlighted ones this evening briefly. So the first is the relationship of the plan to the conditions both off and on site. We interpret that to be, how is it compatible with the surrounding land uses? Does it fit into kind of the land use puzzle for the city? So you can see that planners like to use multifamily or medium density development to create a transition or a buffer between commercial and residential, single-family residential neighborhoods. You can see that this kind of fits this into that scenario where we do have single-family neighborhood to the south. And so this is, we think, a good transition. Directly to the south, there is still a vacant site that's programmed for multifamily. So we'll have some kind of multifamily, medium-density multifamily just south of this, and then we'll transition into a single-family area. There will be a 25-foot rear yard setback with this PAD, creating a little bit of a buffer on that south property. We will require an extension of Villa di Cilio, which eventually will be constructed by this development and the development to the east. So that road will be extended eventually down to Sierra Parkway, creating good connectivity between Sierra Parkway and Florence Boulevard. We still will have one short link to connect with that planned multifamily development you see on the screen. As far as the general plan, this development actually falls into 2 separate general plan land use categories. About 2/3 of it falls, the south 2/3 falls into the neighborhoods category. The north 1/3 falls into the community corridor. In both of these land use categories, higher and medium density developments are allowed. In the neighborhoods, they're restricted to sites no larger than 25 acres with densities no greater than 20 dwelling units per acre. This site meets both of those criteria. And then community center, community corridor category actually allows a higher density. In summary, this project meets the density requirements of both neighborhoods and community center. Community corridor, excuse me. In terms of compliance with the zoning code, really the applicable zoning code that we have to look to here is the residential design standards for planned area developments. Again, this is a planned area development. It's being modified. It has a residential element. Even though it's shown as multifamily on the PAD, is essentially is multiple single-family homes. It's kind of a hybrid, doesn't fit well with our existing regulations, honestly. We are trying to, at staff level, develop some specific regulations for this type of development. But for right now, we have to apply our residential design standards for PADs to these kinds of projects. This project will not meet all of the standard PAD residential design standards. I'll talk to you in a second about which specific ones they're not going to comply with, but they are asking for exceptions from those rules. Exceptions are allowed under the zoning code and under the PAD design guidelines for these two scenarios, A and B, infill development and unique designed projects. Staff believes that this development meets both of those exception requirements. So some of the specific PAD design standards that this project will not meet, and they're seeking exception from, is basically the lot size of no lots smaller than 6,000. For every lot that's smaller than 6 or less than 7, you provide an equal number of 8 or larger. Obviously, there aren't individual lots in this. This is one big lot with 191 single-family for-rent units. If you did the math, you'd find that that equates to about 3,500 square feet of land area per dwelling unit. So it's 3,500 per dwelling unit versus the PAD would seek a typical lot size of 7,000 square feet. There's some setbacks for side yard setbacks that are typical with single-family neighborhoods in our residential design standards that they're seeking relief from. What they're asking for is that each building be allowed to be separated by 8 feet. So there's 8 foot between units, and each unit will have patios, enclosed patios, for each development. There is a requirement in our PAD residential design standards for 5 floor plans with 3 distinct elevations. They are providing the 5 floor plans, but with 2 elevations. So there'll be less variety in terms of architecture than you might see in a normal residential subdivision. Lastly, there's a requirement in our PAD, residential PADs, for every home to have a rear yard patio that's kind of integrated architecturally into the home architecture. They will not provide that. There won't be roofed patios for the rear yard. There are walled patios for each unit that provide outdoor open space, but there's not a roof cover over those patios. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing and formal consideration of this PAD amendment, and they voted to recommend that the City Council approve the PAD amendment. If City Council approves this PAD amendment this evening, the Planning Commission will consider on their July 1st meeting the major site plan and review the major site plan for all the requirements of major site plan. And that concludes my presentation, Mr. Mayor.
Paul, the problem with this is that, it's not a problem, but our codes don't like this type of product, so we're changing that, right?
Well, it's not that our codes don't like the product. Our codes do not do a good job of addressing it because this is a new development type that's been developed, in the last 5 years or so. But yes, Mr. Mayor, we are looking to amend our city code, our zoning code, actually our PAD residential design standards to have a section just for build-to-rent projects. Yes, sir.
Because this is more like a apartment than it is a single-family home.
Well, it strives to meet the demographic needs of folks who may be looking as an alternative to living in an apartment. That's true. Architecturally, it's still a single-family home. So, but you're right, it's a hybrid.
You and I will continue to argue over that one.
Yeah, it's a hybrid.
Okay, I'm in favor of these, so don't take it that I'm not in favor of these. So, Does anybody else have some questions? Mr. Powell?
I just don't understand why we continue to put these kind of projects in PADs and then forgive everything to the person that's trying to do it. Paul, can't we start, if we're gonna build this kind of thing, have specific rules for it alone, so we don't have to continue to say, okay, they don't want to do this in the PAD, they don't want to do that in the PAD, and it's destroying the legitimacy of the PAD. And if they would come up with their own zoning, which would seem like easy enough to do, that if they want to do that project, they would have standards that they could comply with, that would not have to each time go and try to deny something that's in the PAD code. So I would love to see that happen if possible.
So Mayor McFarland, Councilman Powell, you're absolutely right, and staff is working on those types of new standards for this product. We're still going to put them in the PAD.
Be still my heart.
We're still going to put them in the PAD. We're just going to have different PAD standards for this product versus a typical single-family subdivision. Yes, sir.
It's coming. Matt?
So this was zoned originally for multifamily, and I mean for apartment type living, right? So this is a different alternative to that.
Correct.
And I got a question, because these keep coming up as we talk about, and I think it fills a lot of gaps in our housing product, especially in this current climate. But what do they have against the covered patios? Because it's Arizona, and I'm not sure. Not that I'm just asking, because I just think that'd be a big selling point. Because it seems like everyone one we did, this one down south had the patios, but the last two, this developer doesn't have the covered patios on the back.
So Mayor McFarland, Councilman Herman, that's a good point. Let me just show you one graphic that might help. This is a blow-up of what those rear patios look like. You can see the dash lines with the diamonds actually enclose what the patio areas look like. Okay, you see the units and you see the patio area. Those patios are only 8 feet deep. So if you put a cover over those, they would, the green space couldn't really live. It couldn't get proper amount of sun. And you'd have 100% lot coverage with structure. So it's kind of a trade-off. What we kind of see happening is that people will put, colorful umbrellas out there with their patio and because they're going to create some shade,
yeah.
Right? But if we put patio covers over each one, we'd have 100% lot coverage with structure.
That helps me out a lot, and I see it. But yeah, there'll be some sort of patio. I mean, I'm sure they'll have some sort of restrictions onto what kind of shade people can use. But the umbrellas would look nice, different colors. So, but that answers my question. Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Yes, Jeff?
Paul, I know we're not approving the site plan tonight, but has Darla Johnson been involved in identifying a safe place for bus pickup and drop-off?
Mayor McFarland, Councilman Lavender, we did anticipate that question and issue. So you can see the blow up on the right. It's a detail where there's a bus drop-off designed for children pickup, and where the bus would come in off the entrance drive to the west off Walmart, pick up the children, and then go out the exit out to Florence Boulevard. So that has been designed. I'm not sure if we've run that past the transportation director for the school district, but I'll make sure that we do so.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor, I'm just curious
Donna,
about,
go ahead.
I'm just curious about the parking. I know that was discussed, but how is that going to work I mean, I know that we have 1, 2, and 3 bedroom.
So, Mayor McFarland, Councilwoman McBride, we're not parking this, we're not applying our standard single-family home parking to this, which probably is 2 or 3 spaces per unit, depending if there's on-street parking. We applied more of the apartment standard to this, and they've exceeded it. That's what we said as minimums. They have exceeded it. You can see, the parking laid out in this plan. Now, frankly, I'm going to tell you, we're relying a little bit on the developer and his experience with building similar projects in the Phoenix metro area. We don't have any here. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it works really well. But I'm going to have to rely on the developer's experience because he has built, 6 to 10 of these in the Phoenix metro area.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing, so I'll open the floor to any public who is here to speak on behalf or not for this planned area development change amendment. Is there anyone here? Okay, seeing none, then I'll close the public hearing and call for ordinance number, please, Gloria.
Ordinance number 558.09.01, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, approving a major amendment to a portion of Los Bordos planned area development adopted for property generally located west of North Villa del Cielo Road and south of Florence Boulevard, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Mayor McFarland, I move to approve ordinance number 558.109.01 as presented.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Gloria, can I please get a roll call vote?
Councilmember Lavender.
Yes.
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Herman.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Huddleston.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right. Actually, there is one more item on our agenda. And that is reports. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Powell.
Well, I have to report basically some complaints from the community about some of the trash, like across the street from Safeway, that just fill those areas and why they're not required as property owners to keep those cleaned out and at least semi-attractive. It looks pretty bad. It looks like a slummy area over there with all the trash on it. And that's, I'll quit with that.
Matt?
Not much tonight, but go Suns. It's a lot of fun to watch, come together as a state, and also not to talk about the same subject, but there's a neat group of people that have started independently cleaning up areas around Casa Grande, and they would probably don't want to be recognized for it, but they do a lot of good work. So I think they might be targeting a certain area that was discussed earlier. So anyway, community's coming together to help out with that stuff, and it's pretty neat. So thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Lisa?
And the same thing, I don't have a whole lot, but I did want to compliment, kind of piggyback on what you brought up, Matt, but just our community service department, with everything. I talked to Steve earlier, but there's so much going on in the community. People are using the parks. I mean, people are out there walking, using the pool, the recreation center, and, our staff is doing such a great job. Of course, the community isn't doing, their part in throwing away some of the trash, especially Carmacnet Park. But, we have some great volunteers that are out there helping out and cleaning up. But it's just, this is time for family. And I think with everything with COVID, people want to get out and do things. And, we really rely on the community services department with all the different, programming for the kids. And now 4th of July is coming up and the parks. And, it's just so nice to see. I drive by Carmacnet. I was telling Steve earlier that I just so appreciate, he came in when we were in the middle of that. We've been working on that park for years. And so he came in and really pushed that project. And it's just so nice to see all the different activities going on at that park. I mean, there's so many different things. The splash pad, something we've talked about for years.
Mm-hmm.
And even this afternoon, there were so many kids out there playing in the splash pad. So I'm just so proud every time I drive by, walk by, to see all those different activities. And it took so much work and effort. So I just think everything that they're doing out there too to keep everything maintained and going. So Thank you.
Donna?
Three quick things. First of all, kind of piggyback on what Lisa said, both libraries are back open with extended hours, and that's a really good opportunity for people to get out of the heat, and there's lots of activities for families. Second of all, there was some activity on social media this weekend that I just feel that I need to mention. And there were some folks that felt that the city was lacking in our reporting of what's being done for the homeless population. And I was disappointed in that because having been involved, not as much as Lisa has been involved with, some of the things going on. cghelps.com has been around for a while now, and they're offering a lot of different activities. I will say that, trying to be transparent, I wanted to take a look at what is the community really understanding what we've done. And we've done a lot. We've put a lot of money through CG Helps and, getting that with the mayor's task force. And so, in going to cghelps.com, I noticed that some of the information and the scheduling and stuff is really behind. So I hope that we will do better working with, with them at Cara to let people know, because there's a lot of activities going on. There's a lot of groups doing a lot of things. And so I always encourage people before they criticize to find out exactly what we're doing, but perhaps that we need to look at how we can share our successes, because there are. But we do have a lot of people out there, but we have a lot of people helping, and I think that people do need to realize that. And the third thing, fireworks, I know it's going to come up. These fires are horrible, and I would just ask people to please be respectful of, our elderly, our veterans, and our animals on the 4th of July, and, please plan to celebrate some other way besides having fireworks. And that's it.
Jeff?
Donna just took my issue about fireworks, but I think the Public Affairs Office has done a really good job of educating the public, and I certainly appreciate it. Happy 4th of July.
Thanks, Jeff. Bob?
Yeah, a couple of things. Mary, I told you I was going to attend the junior high school career camp last week and speak there, and I did, and even stayed for all of their presentations. It was pretty impressive. They had groups in 6 different areas: the ag camp, police, fire, graphic design, performing arts, and animal sciences. And of course, the city had representatives in police and fire that did a great job. They did their reports and their performances. I was really impressed. I got to share with the students that 50 years ago, I was sitting in that auditorium as a junior high student. And I had to do the math before I said that, because I couldn't quite believe it was 50 years. But anyway, that was enjoyable. Last week, I also attended a webinar put on by the CAP about the history, construction, and the management of the Central Arizona Project Canal. It was very informative, and just by coincidence, went home that night and there was a documentary on the kind of the mechanics and the science of the Mississippi River. And Mr. Powell, they went into a lot of detail about the infrastructure that is already on the Mississippi River that I didn't have any idea of, but all the locks and the levees and all of that. And so, putting 2 and 2 together, the plan that you have promoted of harvesting floodwater off the Mississippi, it doesn't only seem possible, it seems very practical and should be done. So that was it.
All right, thank you, Bob. Mm-hmm. Just to give everybody kind of an update on COVID, the numbers are now, I don't think they're reporting every day. So people are getting tired of reporting this, since it's been going now for almost a year and a half. Not quite a year and a half. But the death rates for the state are at 17,843, and that we're still at a 9.8% positivity rate in the state. And Pinal County has 901 deaths year to date with a 10.1% positivity. So, and then 85122, there hasn't been anything reported in about 2 weeks. So I think they've stopped recording by zip code. So, anyway, this may be my last COVID report unless things get bad.
Let's hope it's your last.
Yeah, let's hope it's my last. Last week, I did participate in a Greater Phoenix Economic Council roundtable, mayor's roundtable with two other mayors, and we were there to speak with the GPEC ambassadors, which are people from all over the Phoenix area, and we talked about economic impact, economic development, what's going on in the cities, and Casa Grande should be proud of itself. We have a lot of very positive activities going on. Financially, we're strong. I listened to some of the other cities and some of the issues that they're dealing with that we fortunately are not dealing with. And so I feel very fortunate to live in Casa Grande. I also attended what's called an ARC meeting. It's the Arizona Reconciliation Committee. It's a subgroup that advises the state water folks when they go and meet with the lower basin states on the Colorado River water. So it's an important subcommittee. I think we're doing some good work. There's some information that they hadn't thought about in terms of municipalities, because I'm one of the few municipal members on this committee. And so I felt pretty good about the input that we were giving them and some of the potential outcomes that may go forward as part of the advisory group. We don't make any decisions. We don't attend the big meetings, but I think we can affect policy by giving them some good ideas. One of the best ones that I felt that we were moving forward was that to come up with a solution, like Mr. Powell's example of bringing river water. They don't talk about solutions. They talk about how they're going to argue with the other 6 lower basin states. So I said, well, let's find a solution. Let's give them an idea on a solution, and let's come up with a fix, not how we're going to, cheat California out of some Colorado River water. So it was a good meeting. I came away with a good feeling. Other than that, I was actually off last week, but still managed to attend a few meetings since Zoom is still around. And just wanted to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. And thank you all for being here tonight. Does anybody else have anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay.
Hasta la vista.
Meeting adjourned. Thank